can you like walk me through? Like, let's say it's like, you're like, hey, Jack, let's go to the bathhouse tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're just going to get some comic books. And you're like, nope. Today we're going to the bath.
So
you have to earn your comic book.
Yeah. If you want that comic book, you're going to see some peens. No, so there's two ways of getting there. Okay. It has its own like sort of regular entrance, which is in the building beside the comic. And you just like walk in, take an elevator up to like the second floor, I think. Okay. And then you pay your ticket and you either get like a locker or a room and you go from there.
But that's the part I want to know.
Oh, so all right. So like, let's say you go in and there's a bunch of lockers and there's 3 or 4 floors. Some floors have like gyms, there's saunas, there's a hot tub filled with syphilis.
I say that's a risk anywhere you go.
Yeah, that's true.
This is good. I was here for comic books. I went in and was like, ooh, a hot tub. And you're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's showers. There's rooms just playing porn. And then as you like, the farther you go up, it becomes more and more just like hallways of rooms, which is where like, that's where it starts to get like a little scary because you never know who's just gonna like, you're gonna walk by and see like an old man jerking off.
Okay. So is it like a sex club, just very niche?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, people go there and literally just like walk around like in shorts.
Okay.
And they're just like there with their friend. I don't know why you would.
Okay.
But you do. And then the top floor is like a rooftop bar. Not bar, but like a rooftop.
And do you take
just
stairs to get to the different floors?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I
the
guess
elevator
we've been
goes.
to bars
You know what? I don't know if the elevator goes to the other floors. I know it takes you to like the floor to get your ticket, but then below the bathhouse is Hot Mass, which is the nightclub.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the same building.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So you can get to the bathhouse through Hot Mass. It's just you pay for like an additional ticket cost, I think.
Interesting.
Huh.
And is the bathhouse specifically like gay only?
No, anyone can go.
There's just gonna be an old guy jerking off in a room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Hot Mass is like I think it's like $25 to get in, and you can they have a bar in Hot Mass, but it's like I wouldn't want anyone to make you a drink there. Not that I think like something's gonna happen to you. It's just like not. It's either gonna be like a cup of vodka or this much vodka and like a soda. So like, but they have like beer there in cans.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
things
Yeah.
like that.
Not
But
bad.
the bathhouse doesn't serve alcohol, probably for the best.
That seems like a probably a good call.
Yeah.
See, there's a sex club over on this side of town, and they don't serve alcohol because they don't have a license, but they hold it for you.
Oh, okay.
So like, if you go in and you have a bottle of vodka, you give it to them, and then you're like, hey, my number is whatever.
Blah blah blah.
They'll pour you a drink. They'll mix it with soda if you want, or if you're just like, I just want a
That's so
mason
polite.
jar of vodka. Yeah, it's really nice.
Hey, can you hand me my obviously moonshine?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. But yeah, that's it. It's
Okay.
It's,
And Hot Mass is specifically dancing. Like
it's dancing. They have a smoke room, I think. They now do like. When I went there, it was just complete like rave dance music.
Okay.
That's what I've always known it to be. Yeah.
That's where I did cocaine.
That tracks.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That absolutely tracks.
That makes a lot more sense now that you tell me that they're connected, because I would hear stories from our friends that I'll leave nameless, where they would talk about going to Hot Mass and then doing a bunch of drugs and then fucking. And I'm like, at the club?
Well, that happens too.
Okay.
They have like these booths that you can like slide under. It's super bizarre.
What the hell?
They're like phone booths almost.
Okay.
Right, like right
That's
beside the
cool.
bathrooms.
Oh.
And you kind of just like duck and you get under, and who knows who's in there.
But
But
now I want to go.
you do want to go?
Yeah.
I'll take you.
Okay.
I'll make sure nobody kidnaps
That's fine.
you.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't want to be trafficked.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do
yeah.
that.
Actually, this kind of vibe of wanting to try new things, just experience existence more, is the reason I even tried cocaine in the first place.
Yeah.
I had been dating a certain
Someone.
actress that
Yeah.
you may recall.
Yes.
I think we talked about her last time you were here too.
Yes, we should.
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
And after that, I was like, I'm just a congealed mass of fear. Like, I'm just scared of everything. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to confront these things head on because that's how I do.
So you did a bunch of cocaine.
So I but like very scientifically, I'm like, all right, so I can do all research, and then we're going to decide, all right, which cocaine. I'm going to decide on my place. All right, I'm going to try cocaine. Did the same thing with shrooms. Did the same thing with acid. Skipped heroin. Pretty good there. Don't need to do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Solid.
Yeah.
Wise choice.
Yeah, just
All around A+.
I'll stick to just watching that one from afar.
No, don't do that either. That sucks.
You don't like Breaking Bad?
That was meth. Oh wait, no, there was heroin in that too. Yeah, that part sucked.
Nah, you're right. That sucks. Heroin's awful, guys. Don't do heroin. That's the DeRazzled's official stance on heroin.
Don't do heroin.
It sucks.
Don't do it. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
I gotta
go. Okay, I guess we can start into the episode. We're rolling, right? Oh, this is a drink.
It's a cup of pink.
Pink.
It literally is.
It's just a cup of pink.
Just a cup of pink. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not reacting to the alcohol. It's just kind of tart.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah, it's kind of like
a pink lemonade.
Oh,
It's
okay.
It's a liquid sweet tart.
Yeah.
Great. So, welcome to DeRazzled, everybody. The podcast takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson. Here to suffer alongside me, as always, is also host Joe Nealis.
Welcome, everybody.
All the movies on DeRazzled won Worst Picture at the Razzies the year they were released. He lied. The Razzies, for those of you who don't know, are something of a reverse Oscars. They recognize the worst films of the year. Today's episode, you'll be getting a bit of the old DP.
Oh no!
Not only will you be pleasured by the return of Caleb Feigles, host of the Making a Martini podcast, but you'll also be introduced to DeRazzled's new episode format.
True.
So much pleasure. Double pleasure.
Double your pleasure.
Yeah.
Double your fun.
Caleb, any regrets?
That's the slogan for the bathhouse, actually. So
Interesting.
see, it was related.
So no regrets from you, I see. All right.
Outstanding.
Not at all.
Oh my God, wonderful. So as I said, we'll be plowing you with DeRazzled's new format. That means that each movie will now be split into 2 more reasonably lengthed episodes.
We hope.
We hope. In part 1, we'll discuss the movie and decide if it deserves the hate. In the second part, we'll look at what went wrong and fix it. So basically, how we usually do it, just kind of reorganized and shortened.
Yeah, slightly more digestible for your listening pleasure.
Yes.
Triple your pleasure. Triple your fun.
P?
Oh no.
TP. Allow me to demonstrate. Instead of providing a highly descriptive summary full of quips, we'll be playing a game called Pavlov's Horses, where I'll have 5 minutes to summarize the movie and not a second more.
Not a fucking second more.
When the timer hits 5 minutes, Joe will blast me with horse sounds. Horses, they walk on their toenails, and I hate them for that.
Among other atrocities, but mostly that one.
It's just that.
It's like, the more you think about it, the worse it gets. Though I do want to note real quick.
Please.
So as I mentioned before we started recording, I saw Nope the other day, and while the horses were unsettling, the chimp was way worse.
Oh, yeah. They had both the animals I like the least.
And one was objectively more horrifying than the other.
Yeah. But before we do that, Joe, would you remind them to remember, never unremember?
Oh, you should always remember to rate and review the show everywhere you possibly can, so it helps people find us and helps us get up higher in search rankings. Thank you to everybody that has been doing that. In particular, some of the folks from Sugar Coated Murder have given us 5-star reviews on Good Pods, which we greatly appreciate. So thank you.
Okay, they breath. Okay, all right, here we go. I like horses. All right, give me a countdown, will you?
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Listen. Nothing I say in the next 5 minutes is going to capture the pure cocaine-driven insanity of this 1980s roller disco movie musical about a muse who exits the pretty crappy mural to help a failed record cover artist turned failed charcoal drawing artist flip a dilapidated Art Deco warehouse into a sideshow discotheque with the assistance of a beach-roaming old man who plays clarinet, himself being inspired by the same mural muse in the big band era of the 40s so that he can relive his glory days by mixing rock and roll and disco and the big band aesthetic, but nearly loses his friend along the way. That's Michael Beck from the Warriors, but who plays Sonny Malone in the movie, because Sonny has fallen in love with the muse who calls herself Kira, but is actually Terpsichore.
You want to try that name again?
Her name is Terpsichore or Terpsichore, one of the 9 muses of Mount Olympus, because having completed her task of inspiring another sad boy art grad, returns to the Tron world of laser, 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 just beyond the mural, only to have Sonny rollerblade his way into the mural, all Kool-Aid Man style, argue with the disembodied voice of Zeus, who has a terrible time figuring out the concept of time, which makes sense since it's a human construct and he's an omnipotent being that it's gone out of vogue. Zeus isn't convinced by this puny mortal, but is browbeaten by Lady Zeus, which is not Hera, and maybe Terpsichore's mom.
But it's not Hera?
It's not.
They say her name. It's something completely different.
It's really weird.
They also don't live on Mount Olympus.
They don't.
It's also true, yeah.
Tron, world of laser, laser, laser. Browbeats, blah, 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 into giving Kira a second moment and or forever to go to the opening of Xanadu, that's the roller disco, to support her mortal boy toy and watch the living legend Gene Kelly, seen here in his last feature film performance, skate around in a circle while the big finish number goes over like a wet fart, just like Sonny's love life. But don't worry, because the shot girl looks exactly like Kira, and that's not to speak of any of the song and dance numbers, including a fully animated portion created by pre-legendary Don Bluth, who was behind An American Tale, Secret of Nim, and my personal favorite, Rockadoodle. There's a mannequin dance number where they didn't
even look like mannequins a little bit.
No.
For a second.
I say Pretty Woman, but I think I'm actually thinking of She's All That. Anyway, they give Gene Kelly a makeover. Kira convinces Sonny she's amused by having the people on TV agree with her. And of course, Gene Kelly and Dame Olivia Newton John have a dream sequence ghost tap number, which was a scene that was only added after test audiences were mad that Gene and Olivia did not sing and dance together in the original cut, which honestly, that's the whole point of having those two actors. But
wow.
Also, ELO created the score out of spare songs that they just had lying around. Anyway, guys, I really like this movie.
Jack, you beat the horse by like a wide margin. My God, that is
second horse.
That might be. Holy shit, that's the fastest summary that we've had in so long. I do want to point out one thing. The makeover montage that you're thinking of is absolutely clueless.
Oh yeah.
I hate. It's actually the part of the movie I hated the most.
It was. Okay, so I do have a quick feeling about that, because Becca and I were very much in agreement about which outfit of Gene Kelly's was the best out of all of them, and it was the second one. And after that, they all got worse.
Was that the pink suit?
No, the pink suit was the one right before the pink suit. The one where it was like a brown, like autumnal suit with like an orange shirt and that orange scarf coming under the lapels.
He looked so
that was
good.
stylish as fuck. I loved that suit. And then after that, everything went downhill.
I also like how in the thing that he was dressing up for, he just wears a tuxedo.
Yeah, it just showed he's ended up in a tuxedo. What the fuck? Like that whole scene meant nothing.
So many outfits.
I imagine Gene Kelly was like, "I'm not wearing that shit."
Look, can you just wear this one thing in this one scene? Like, we'll give you a fun ascot or something.
Yeah. I have so much fun drama with him behind the sets.
I can't fucking wait.
So I really like this movie.
Are you really?
Yeah, for real.
Oh shit! Okay.
Of the movies we've covered on this podcast, the only one I've enjoyed more would be Nothing But Trouble.
I'm genuinely surprised.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna hate this.
I'm quite surprised myself.
I had so much fun. So I showed Belinda the trailer before I sat down to watch it, and she's like, "This looks like off the wall, so bad it's good, cocaine-driven madness." And I was like, "That's what the trailer looks like, but there's no way it's going to actually be that fun. It's probably going to be real slow and kind of dumb." But she was right, and I had a really good. As soon as Olivia Newton John and the other 9 muses kind of. Hell, even as soon as he tears up his piece of art and throws it and starts to glow like it's cursed.
Yeah. It's like a demented Mary Poppins
yeah,
sequence.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's how Mary Poppins got there. All I'm saying.
Clearly.
It's basically the same movie.
But when the muses started dancing around and they were all like glowy neon, I was like, I'm okay. I'm into it. To be honest, I like half of the movie.
Okay.
Pretty much up until the mix of rock and roll and big band when they try to like mush those two songs together.
Yeah.
Which like I like the idea of it. But
I like
the execution was
I like the set piece of
like
it.
interlocking.
Yeah,
I
that was
loved
cool as hell.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about it when I was watching and I went, wow.
So I really enjoyed the movie up to that point. After that, I was like, I still enjoyed it. I think that at that point, it ran out of spectacle to go on. And it needed to fall back on character development, which there had been none.
That's, I think that's a good assessment.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I am surprised I enjoyed a movie musical, a disco movie musical from the 80s.
Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked that you feel that way. I thought for sure that you were going to hate this.
No, I mean, I certainly have my complaints, but...
So now we really know what they needed to do with Les Mis.
More lasers.
More lasers.
More lasers and cocaine.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joe, it sounds like you did not quite enjoy this film.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I didn't enjoy it. I was fucking bewildered by it from pretty much start to finish. Just the turns that this thing takes are so wild and so off the wall. There's A, no predicting them, and B, once you're in the midst of them, you can't help but continue wondering, how did I get here?
One of the things that confused me was Sonny's job. I don't know if that's
It's
an
a weird
antiquated job or something.
It's gotta be, right?
Because I was talking to Blend about it. So what he does in the movie is he takes album covers and then paints them
to be advertisements on
think so.
record
He
stores?
paints enlargements of them so they can hang them up in record store windows or in record store displays, which is like giant Xerox printers exist now.
Right.
So-
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're gorgeous, but that seems really a terrible way to go about doing that thing. Like, all right, well, now you got to do 1,800 more of these.
Right.
Good luck.
God.
But yeah, I had no idea what he was doing.
I was immediately bewildered by him, like just the very opening scene when we see him trying to do that charcoal drawing. I'm like, oh, hey, he's not bad. He's got some, he's got some good eye for form and some shadows. It's a very basic layout he's kind of putting in there, and then he just rips it in half and goes, oh well, I guess I wasn't supposed to have dreams anyway.
Which is the first line of the musical, by the way.
Oh, excellent! I'm thrilled.
So do you know when the musical came out?
2008, 2009?
It's that recent.
Yeah, I knew it was
fairly
recent. There's been a
2007.
staged live musical adaptation of the movie that is done pretty well, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What I thought was a little bewildering was that he would do one drawing or one piece in like pencils and another in charcoal and another in like watercolor. I'm like, you're just filling in all of them. Okay.
I didn't expect to be like targeted as a character in this movie, but like suddenly they turn. There's a pile of unused Copic markers just chilling in the corner.
Cool factoid.
Factoid.
There were 9 muses. One of them is Valeria from Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
Yeah, I had nowhere else to put that fact, so I just threw it in here.
That felt about right.
Yeah.
This has been your VH1 pop-up video moment,
Also,
apropos of nothing.
The mural was added in post because they're like, we know we want a mural here, but we don't know what it's supposed to look like.
That
doesn't surprise me. No, after just having watched it and being like, something's off.
This is mural in the middle of this weird like alleyway. Like, which I think we're supposed to be led to believe that he painted it, that Sonny painted it.
That would make more sense.
There's a throwaway line early in the film when he first comes back to the record company or whatever the hell it is, and he's like, I fail. I try to do my own stuff and I fail. All I can do is I can paint his van, I can paint these albums, I can paint someone else's mural, and it's just like just thrown in this list of things that like it doesn't seem like it's important, and then you see that mural later, much later on. It's like, who the fuck did that? Where'd that come from? What a weird place for this kind of a mural.
We also do see his van.
We do see that van
because he's like, runs into that guy. He's like, yeah, I'll give you a ride. And he's like skates on the bumper.
Just sketches it. It's great.
See, this movie's great. I don't know. I was utterly perplexed by Gene Kelly on the beach with his clarinet because they don't explain it at all. It opens on him, I think.
Yeah. I think the whole movie starts with him and then just pans to him painting.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay.
And then Sonny's skating after this like random girl who gave him a kiss on the sidewalk.
As she disappears as a laser.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That is not what bothers him.
Yeah, he never stops to question that even once.
Her disappearing, coming back, like when they first get into the roller disco and she's just a ghost.
She like literally fades to nothing and then pops up somewhere else, and he doesn't even comment on this.
Yeah. That alone did not make him realize that she was not a human being. It was later on when she tells him.
No, I've had girlfriends who have done that. Oh, fuck you, get in the kitchen.
I wanted so badly for this to be the first indicator of like manic pixie dream girl, but I think Annie Hall is frequently suggested, and it's a couple years earlier. But I've seen Annie Hall, I've seen Xanadu, and Kira from Xanadu is way closer to the manic pixie dream girls that I've known than Annie Hall is.
I think more so than like more of like the realistic expectation of a manic, like what people think is a manic pixie dream girl, as opposed to the like filmic representation.
You're saying Kira's less realistic?
No, I'm saying Kira is more like a real human being version of manic pixie dream girl, as opposed to Annie Hall, who is the proto film version of the manic pixie dream girl.
Great. The only
because that's what we needed, was to have that distinction in that trope.
right. The only thing that was like unrealistic about Kira was I didn't have to like pick up her vomiting drunken body and carry it home at the end of the night.
That's true. Not a once.
No.
That was the cast party.
Yeah.
Just Gene Kelly just picking her up and
like, come on, bitch, we're going home.
Can't handle her alcohol. Caleb, before we go into the stats, would you like to tell everybody what we're drinking today?
Oh, we are drinking pink lemonade margarita pre-made mix from the liquor store that was purchased for a work party that I got to take the leftover alcohol home from.
So we're recording on Labor Day, which in Pennsylvania means all the liquor stores are fucking closed. Yeah. So we couldn't do the thing we were planning on doing, which was
a drink called a laser beam that was champagne based, which would have been perfect.
Which sounded cool as hell.
Yeah. But so we have one modeled after one of Gene Kelly's suits.
Yes.
That's it. That's the tie-in.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Hey, let's do some stats. Caleb.
Yes.
Tomato meter.
Yes.
What do you think it was?
What is it's a percentage, right? Like out of 100%?
Yeah. It's the Rotten Tomatoes critic score.
Okay. I'm going to get, me personally, or what I think it has currently.
What do you think it currently has?
What it has?
Yeah.
40?
29.
Oh,
29?
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
How about the audience score?
This is out of 5?
This is also out of 100.
Out of 100%.
Yeah.
Audience score? 36.
58.
Way higher.
Yeah.
Okay. What about that IMDb? Scale of 1 to 10.
It's out of 10.
6.5.
Close. 5.3.
All right.
Within 1.5.
Which, yeah, I think that's probably about right. Like, I enjoyed the movie, but I know it's not good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this came out in 1980. And our beloved Stinkers were around then.
That's true. The Stinkers were around.
It didn't win. It got a dishonorable mention.
For the Stinkers?
For the Stinkers.
Okay.
And it got the least special effects.
Oh.
It was nominated. It didn't win that. The winner of that was a movie called The Apple.
The Apple?
By Canon Pictures.
Oh, Canon Pictures. No,
right,
that's there. Okay.
Like,
enough said.
That tracks.
Yeah. A movie called Galaxina, which is another one I've never heard of, and a Disney movie called The Last Flight of Noah's Ark. I'm assuming it's one of the live action movies that nobody watched.
Oh, it had to have been.
So now on to the Razzies.
On to the Razzies.
In 1980, at the first Golden Raspberry Awards Xanadu was nominated for 6 Golden Raspberries. It won 1.
Just one?
Just 1.
Okay.
It was a good year for the Razzies. So it was nominated for Worst Picture. And as Antonio on Instagram has pointed out, Can't Stop the Music won that year.
That's correct.
And we're not allowed to cover it without him.
I'm all for that. Yeah. No, Antonio, we'll gladly have you on for Can't Stop the Music.
I want to say that is the... oh, God. Why am I dropping their name? The YMCA guys.
The Village People?
Yeah, thank you. The Village People. I want to say it's a Village People disco movie.
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah. It was nominated for Worst Screenplay for Richard C. Danis and Mark R. Rubel. Can't Stop the Music also won that one.
Okay.
It was nominated for Worst Actor, Michael Beck in his role as Sonny Malone. It lost to Neil Diamond from The Jazz Singer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Neil.
Yeah. Also, Worst Actress, Olivia Newton John, lost to Brooke Shields from The Blue Lagoon.
Okay.
It was nominated Worst Original Song, Suspended in Time, which I just listened to before. It was not bad.
Aww.
No, actually, I was like, there's a lot of hate for Suspended in Time. I was like, it wasn't bad.
I think it's just the fact that it's like the camera does this the whole time.
Oh, I have some things to say about the camera work.
Okay. Because it is a long song for her just standing there. So
Yes.
yeah, but it's a good song. Like,
it's not a bad song, but it goes on so long, and
that must be why
it kills the momentum of the film.
Yeah,
and the camera work. Yeah, it's just the song itself though.
No, I just re-listened to the soundtrack before you guys got here. I was like, no, it's still pretty solid. Yeah. The song that won is "The Man with Bogart's Face" from "The Man with Bogart's Face."
The fuck?
I don't know. Oh, I the only thing I know about that movie is that there's an actor who looks very similar to Humphrey Bogart.
Sure.
And once Hollywood figured that out, they're like, oh, we can make a bunch of movies where you're like spoofing Bogart. So you're never going to actually get to play yourself or another character. You're just Humphrey Bogart now. And I'm pretty sure he's in the Woody Allen film Play It Again, Sam, where Woody Allen has an imaginary friend that is Humphrey Bogart.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so it did win worst. Xanadu did win worst director. That's Richard Greenwald.
Interesting. Okay.
He beat out, and I'm going to read the full list because it is wild.
Please hit me with
who's on this list. I'll skim through the ones that are a little less known. John C. Avildsen for The Formula. Michael Ritchie for The Island. John Trent for Middle Aged Crazy. Gordon Willis for Windows. And now we get on to some questionable decisions.
Oh.
Brian De Palma for Dress to Kill.
Interesting.
William Friedkin for Cruisin'. Which I really want to watch Cruising.
Actually, I forget about Cruising.
There was, I forget what club was down in Lawrenceville. I don't think it's still there anymore. But on the wall in the dance area, they would play like some random movie. And the one, I don't like dancing. So I just watched the movie, which was Cruising. I'm like, this is really good. I can't hear what Pacino's saying, but I'm enjoying it. Anyway, Sidney J. Furry? Huh. And Richard Fleischer for The Jazz Singer. Stanley fucking Kubrick for The Shining.
Oh, boy.
That's and then Nancy Walker for Can't Stop the Music.
All right.
They nominated Stanley fucking Kubrick.
I mean, Kubrick's gotten some shit over time for his treatment of actors,
right?
And his
but it wasn't the
difficult approach.
It wasn't worst to his actors director. It was just
True,
worst director
in general. Yeah. Seems a bit.
No, he would win that hands down, especially for The Shining. And on that note, we're gonna go and break to commercial.
Woo!
And welcome back. All right, gang. What worked for you and Xanadu? Starting with the cast. let me preface it like this. So, I in this next episode, I have trouble fixing the movie because I don't want to fix it.
Yeah,
and to change the cast too much takes away from the magic of it. And by magic, I mean
lasers.
Like
lasers.
The actors aren't doing a fantastic job, but they're in a a degree of heightened reality that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Excluding one actor that we'll get to.
They're aligned in a machine just right to make just the right lasers.
Yeah. Like, could it be a better laser? Absolutely.
It could be a better laser.
You might not get that better laser if you fuck with the machine too much.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's a weird metaphor.
I will say, I think Gene Kelly worked for me. Which is a weird thing, because I don't want this to be his last role on film. But also, he's just fun. Damned if he isn't
fun to
enjoyable
watch. Yeah.
He's too charismatic for this movie.
Honestly, yeah.
He's too charismatic for what I know happened behind the scenes.
Now, see that, I imagine that's going to be largely what we're getting into in part 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nothing cancelable. Just yeah. I liked Olivia Newton John. I think you probably could have picked a better actor, but the music is very much hers.
It's in her wheelhouse, I'd say.
It's really for characters. I even enjoyed his shitty boss, who was.
I thought the boss played his role well.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a slimy asshole, and he needed to be a slimy asshole.
Yeah.
I do want to know how he made all his money painting larger versions of a record cover.
So I have to assume that it's an actual record company and that they're making money from the
subdivision.
sale of the records. Yeah, and this is just a department that
of
he
it?
oversees.
Because he also shows up when they're doing that song where they both roller skate and the trees rise up and then it rains and then there's umbrellas.
Oh my god, what a bizarre set.
But he shows up in this weird I don't know,
when they're on
something
the
from the
sets and
ship
stuff?
of
Yeah.
Alien. And he's like, hey, do you know how much this shit costs? And
then he fucks it up and something blows up behind him or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's
shit.
true.
Yeah.
I think that scene where they're first kind of falling for each other.
Yeah.
And they go into this studio back lot with a bunch of different sets is where I was like, I kind of like this movie now.
Yeah.
I was not when he described what was going to happen. He was like, "Yeah, it projects a bunch of images all around, so you get into a bunch of different areas or a bunch of different scenarios." I wasn't expecting literal, tangible items to fall from the fucking ceiling. I wasn't expecting the little roof access thing from the room to fall down onto
that's
the
what
set.
I thought too. I was like, wait, am I fucked up right now? Are we back in the room?
Waiting for him to pop back out and go, "Oh, hi, Mark."
I figured out where Tagawa came from. He was created for the movie Xanadu.
Oh my god.
I also was like, oh, it's gonna be a laser light show or something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's sets coming down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Story. What worked for you for the story?
I like the premise of, a muse inspiring an artist to complete his greatest work.
I
like the idea of that.
Yes.
Isn't that what happened? But
I also like the idea of that. Yeah. Well, when we get to what doesn't work, I'm going to touch a little bit back on why I don't feel like that's actually what happened.
Today when I was watching, I was crying so hard at the end. I was laughing. I could not. So I'm like, oh wait, the whole movie leads up to this.
Yeah.
but I love the premise, and I love the tie-in of Gene Kelly, not Danny Kaye.
Yeah.
I like his sort of character's story and how he fits into everything.
I like that too, especially since I think that character that he's playing is a pre-existing character from a movie in the 40s.
I also had read about where this movie may have came from, where it's it was a movie that was adapted from a book, but then there's a sequel to that movie, which this is then an homage to.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is true because I haven't watched those other movies, so I don't want to say that for sure. But could be. Basically, I think it's an angel, right? Like an angel falls from heaven or something.
Something like that. I want it to be true.
I want it to be true as well. I'm also the writer was locked in his house for 3 days, not allowed to leave because he was having such a hard time at writing the script that I assume he was just watching movies on TCM and was just yeah, we're just gonna do that one.
I fully believe that's what happened. That is my official headcanon
we're
for
talking
this.
about this man's pain. Sitting at his typewriter crying. It's his head.
Have to open the club.
I like the animated number.
God, I did too. I mean, I'm a sucker for animation mostly, but like it's so fun and fluid and it's Don fucking Bluth.
Yeah. I was instantly excited as soon as an animated portion came into a live action film, and then when I realized it was Don Bluth, I was like, I am so happy.
Yeah,
I cannot separate myself from whether or not it actually works, but I just love it.
Fair.
I also love that your favorite Don Bluth movie is Rock-a-Doodle.
I'm a little bit salty you didn't mention All Dogs Go to Heaven in that list.
I was worried about the time limit, and I don't like horses. So, I wanted...
Man, you had so much time left. You could have mentioned that one movie.
Oh, no.
I should have timed myself
Anyway,
beforehand.
just a shout out to the Duke.
All Dogs Go to... fuck, what was the name of that movie? Hold on, wait, I'm going to get it. I swear to God. It's All Dogs Go to...
The West.
The West. No, that's not right. Sorry, God. And horse.
Yeah, that was my concern. I had Rock-a-Doodle on VHS as a youth.
Yeah,
and just would like rewatch it over and over and over again.
I broke mine.
I actually did not see that until I was an adult.
I
also a banger as an adult.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah.
I think the Duke is the second greatest villain of all time.
Pretty great.
We were at a party. I think it was at Big Nate's place.
Yeah.
And someone put on Rock-a-Doodle, and I was very drunk, and I was thinking, yay!
Oh, I wish I could have been there for that. That's so good.
It's also a movie that starts out live action and then becomes animated.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah. We can all agree. I think that was also like he hadn't done any of those movies yet.
No.
Mm-mm.
And the only reason he was called upon to do this segment was because the producer had like a leftover song that they were contractually had to put in.
Oh,
really?
And he's like, well, instead of bringing the actors back and doing a set and like, whatever, we're going to call up this Don guy and have him animate
That's one of my
segment.
favorite songs in the movie.
Yeah.
Is that like that one just on in general, like ELO song? I'm like, I like it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really clever way to put the song in there, have it still add to the story without making it feel forced. That it was like, oh, you had to put this in here.
Yeah. It is enough of a like surrealist moment to where like it does not detract from the rest of what's happening, but it also doesn't feel shoehorned.
Weirdly in a lot of musicals, my complaint is that they don't spend enough time on building the relationship between the two lovers. But in this, actually felt like of the relationships were built, they spent a good amount of time developing their relationship romantically. It's still very like Romeo and Juliet, like we like each other because we're both have bits that we like.
He says, I love you.
Day 2.
I'd like day 2. I think they've known each other for like 2 entire days.
But in the terms of musicals, that's like months of dating.
That's talking about sharing a timeshare.
Well, the entire time they're transforming into fish and squirrels and whatever else. That was months going by. They were in Bluthland.
Oh my God, which makes sense because they did have to build that.
Children were conceived and born in the time that they were in Bluthland.
I want to go to Bluthland.
Why isn't there a fucking Bluthland? Probably for good reasons, but.
Yeah, have you seen All Dogs Go to Heaven?
So many times. That was my sister and I watched that so many times as children.
Jesus, or Secret of Nim. Do you really want to go to Secret of Nimland?
No, maybe.
Please, no.
So I'm going to help them.
As far as the story goes, as I said earlier, I pretty much enjoy it up until the musical mashup, but also more like when the construction happens, when they actually start into the construction is when I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's move this along. Themes. What themes worked for you?
Lasers.
Yeah.
I guess the overarching theme is follow your dreams, or don't give up on your dreams, or whatever. Like, that's fun.
Finding your inspiration, go for your dreams. Yeah, that's what I have as well.
Now, as we discussed in our episode about The Room, that manifests Tommy Wiseau, who is a wish fulfillment demon. But
production. What worked for the production?
Lasers.
I also have lasers. I said lasers. Fuck you. I love them.
use lasers. Fuck you.
But I have to say, the very first song where everyone's turning into a laser, but they're also doing a time lapse behind them, just sort of like walking regularly before they turn into a laser, there's something weirdly magical about that I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, these people are gonna do stuff. I'm excited.
The only thing I didn't like about that is I wanted to know what happened to the 8 other muses.
I would have liked to have seen more of them because they only actually pop up outside of like that moment in the beginning. Is they are, I think, dancing around Olivia Newton John in
the finale.
Xanadu in the finale before she like permanently disappears.
Yeah.
Here's, if I were adapting this stage, and I don't know anything about the actual stage adaptation, I would put that at the beginning of the second act. Just like a little mini montage, dance montage of like the muses doing their shit.
Yeah.
Just to kind of ease the audience back into the world.
I can get behind that.
Cool. What didn't work for the cast?
I think Michael Beck.
Yeah.
He didn't do like the worst job in the world,
No.
but
I couldn't tell if it was that he was like, how have I gotten here? Or if it was he like actually felt like oh, he didn't have to audition. They were like, here you go.
Yeah. Well, not because he was so good, but because they ran out of people.
oh god.
Oh, okay.
You're definitely the first 19th on our list.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if he was unhappy or if it was an actual choice he was making to be like this disgruntled artist, but it sort of came across as just a little stale.
Yeah.
A little stale.
Have you the only other movie I've seen him in is The Warriors.
Same.
And it was pretty much the same performance.
Yeah.
So I think he's just kind of like that.
Just like that. Yeah.
It was a little one note.
Yeah. Which, like, for The Warriors, it worked.
Yeah.
For Xanadu, like, again, he wasn't the worst, but I would have liked to have somebody with a little bit more chemistry.
Yes.
With Kira. I do feel bad that this movie basically wrecked his career.
That does suck.
It does suck.
Themes. Can I read exactly what I wrote?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Themes didn't work. Going for your dreams because boobies. Proto-manic pixie dream girl. Annie Hall beat Olivia by 3 years, but I think Kira was a more manic pixie dream girl. Yeah, the inspiration of boobies being your impetus for going for your dreams didn't really work for me.
Yeah. Agreed. Like you clearly have talent. You clearly have like this drive to do this thing. Just fucking do the thing.
Yeah.
There's something about the Gene Kelly, which his name is Danny McGuire.
Yes.
In this? Okay.
I think.
There was something for me that just didn't work about his not feeling anything about Kira being with, when he blatantly knows who Kira is.
Yes.
Yeah,
and there's no, it's just very much like,
decades.
oh my gosh, I was so in love with you that I created the best art of my life. But it's nice to see that you're back and with someone else. Have fun.
Well, I think that's where, so they added that tap number. That was like the last thing they did.
Because that honestly is my favorite part of the entire movie.
It's great.
Is that tap number.
And I think that's a clever way to insert it into the movie and have it make sense. It's like, oh, he was also inspired by Kira.
Yeah.
But it does raise some questions of like, do you not remember?
You clearly do remember, but you don't remember, but you seem awfully chill about it.
Yeah. So that was something I wanted to try to fix.
Yeah.
And
there was just something off about his character's relationship with her that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I think that's it. It's something about him just being like super chill with the love of his life,
but
being
also
with his business partner.
Yeah.
Stunny doesn't recognize her at the very end when she shows up as a shot girl.
I mean, he clearly like he has that inkling of like, hey, there's something about you, employee that I've hired.
Right? Yeah, it's a little problematic.
Yeah. Like wait, this ends with him falling in love with his employee? And Gene Kelly's just fine with it? And aware, maybe, of like what's happening?
I mean, maybe she has some kind of like, you don't remember me.
Yeah.
Type thing. But then
pocket sand.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did work for the story?
Oh man. Zeus.
That was just that whole segment of him going into the mural.
I like that, actually. It being Zeus kind of confused me, but him going into Tronland I was fine with.
Tronland.
Unclear, not Hera, I guess, is weird.
Yeah.
Like, if you're already tapping into Greek mythology, it's like, was Hera for some reason not in the public domain? Like,
right, yeah. Maybe. Olympus still has copyright on Hera.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, one of the things I say in the fix is it should have just committed to going the whole way.
Yeah.
Like, just go big.
Absolutely.
So when he goes through the mural into Tronland, just have an electric Zeus there.
Yeah.
Like, go full neon Zeus.
I want you to think about the phrase you just uttered. Electric Zeus. Is there anything more late 70s, early 80s than what you just
Electric
said?
Zeus.
I wanted to drink that 40. That's some great malt liquor right there.
Yeah, it's Billy D. Williams. Play my Billy D. Williams.
Shit, yeah, that'd actually be great.
People would have been so mad.
Yes. Or I also think that wouldn't have been quite as jarring, the introduction of the whole like Greek mythos.
Yeah.
If they had introduced it earlier.
Yeah.
Because you have the mural that's, Grecian.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, it has some Grecian elements, but like they don't say anything about them being muses until however you pronounce Kira's actual name,
Terpsichore.
Until Terpsichore actually like fucking reveals herself to be a muse. So you have this opening where it's just, these laser women dancing.
Yeah, because she does a couple of other magical things throughout the movie, but not much. She changes the mannequins into dancers, but Danny and Sunny don't even notice this. But like, what if they had? Like, what if she was A, more magical, and B, they were like, was that the cocaine, or did you see was that the
cocaine?
Yeah, have him like kind of double take for a minute, be like, hey, wait a minute. Though I will say to his credit on that, they never looked like mannequins to begin with.
That's
you could
true.
absolutely tell
See
they
them
were
moving ever so slightly,
breathing and kind of shifting in these not window displays.
Like, why didn't you have them be mannequins? Laser them up,
which they do so many other times throughout the movie.
People the whole time.
So many other times. The mixture of the suspension of disbelief goes so far in and out of what's like, oh my gosh, how magical was this versus look at that really magical thing that I'm going to be totally fine with.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that song does not work for me. I hate that song.
The makeover song?
Yeah. Well, let me correct this. I hate that scene. I love that song.
Ah, okay.
That sounds good.
The was it All Around the World or whatever?
Yeah, it was All Around the World. Yeah. I didn't hate the sequence. The song's all right. And again, the like autumnal kind of look that Gene Kelly puts on is just mwah, chef's kiss, perfect. He should have kept that the rest of the fucking movie. But no, they kept on going downhill with all these worse and worse looks.
Right.
Also, just like the weird like ex-mannequins like following them around like a bunch of like gremlins around the entire fucking store.
The one that just comes out and starts air humping. She's my personal favorite.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like their aesthetic felt different than what we've been looking. It felt like high 80s versus what we had been looking at, which was like early 80s.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Okay.
There's also, they did this mixture of full-blown like soundstage choreography type number versus these close-ups of the people just like looking left and right and up and down. You're like, just like zoom out. It's fine. Like, pick a lane.
Okay, we're gonna interrupt this little looking back and forth kind of number to wheel out an entire rack where there is a clear stripper.
Oh my god!
Twisting and turning on the middle pole. Which, like, nothing wrong with that, but also, again, like, there's just like there's so many lanes intersecting in the midst of this number.
Yeah,
I think the reason I dislike this one so much, and I don't typically like musicals.
No.
And the reason for that is there's a lot of unmotivated numbers. And this is like the key example of how do we shoehorn this dance number into the story. Oh, hey, you need a better suit for the opening. What?
Makeover!
Yeah. I'm like, god damn it.
I literally, as we were watching this today, I turned to my friend and was like, I feel a song coming on.
So, and there are a number of songs like that.
Yeah.
Some of them fit fine. Others, I'm like, sure. All right.
Yeah.
Production. What didn't work?
Before we get into production, there's one thing that is kind of an intersection of character and story that I feel like does not work.
Sure.
And it is the male co-worker of Sonny's at the record company.
The funny guy.
The quote unquote funny guy.
Oh my God.
From the moment he comes back and when Sonny first starts relaying the story of this weird woman that just appeared out of nowhere on roller skates and kissed him and skated off.
Yeah.
His response to that is to stop him and go, oh, now wait a minute. Tell me the X-rated version.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, are you fucking Clarence Thomas? Like, what is this? Why would you ask that at work? Come on.
Oh, no. Yeah, I forgot about the quote-unquote funny friend.
Yeah.
For a second.
But then he disappears, like as soon as Sonny leaves that job, he disappears for a good chunk of the film, and then just pops back up again when they're in the midst of like planning after the makeover
suddenly
scene.
Involved. Yeah,
I don't remember him after that.
He was just there at the table with Gene Kelly for no reason.
Oh, he snuck in.
Apparently. But he was there like conversing with him like he's an active participant in the planning, and he had not popped up at any other time.
Here's what happened. Gene really got along with that guy. He was like, this guy.
He's got moxie.
He's got moxie. He's coming with me. I say that, but that's actually what happened.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Not with him, but in the added tap number.
Oh.
So they wanted him to come back because that wasn't in the original cut.
Right. This is the one with him and Olivia Newton John.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'll only agree to it because A, I live right up the street.
It's on my way to the drugstore.
Yeah. It's a closed set. The only people that can be there are the people that have to be there. So like director, camera, operator, sound guy.
Sure.
And these two guys that I got along with real well while shooting.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, God. As far as the production goes, I hate the camera work.
Yeah.
Like, the reason I don't love this movie is the camera work. It's
I
so
agree.
Like, move. You're filming a movie about people on roller skates. Move.
It is so bizarrely rigid
Yes.
for how fluid everyone else is trying to move, especially in like the moments where they're in the roller disco at the end and they're trying to follow Gene Kelly around. As it's like the most like painfully unmoving like dolly shot to try and get him, which is weird. That should feel fluid, but instead it feels clunky.
Yeah, it felt like, and you can't even blame it on the age of the film because it was 1980, and you had that kind of camera work right when you entered the talkies, which was 50 years prior. So like, I don't know what your excuse is for being like, as we say, get it off the sticks. Like, why is this on a tripod or a crane?
No reason.
Well, fellas, we talked about the movie.
Yes.
The awards, its stats, and what worked and what didn't work. Now, do you think it deserves its accolades?
I think it's enough of a mess in a number of ways, particularly production-wise, to warrant the nomination for Worst Picture. I am very glad that it did not win.
I agree.
I would agree with that. I can understand how it got its nominations.
Does it deserve the hate?
I mean, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if that's worthy of scorn.
I think maybe at the time I can see people being like, what the fuck did I just watch? But it honestly it's popped up in so many, like, I think as time has gone on, it has become much more of a cult for sure. Like I forget I was watching something and it popped up. Oh, I was watching Friends and it popped up on there. And I was just like, oh shit. So I feel like, I don't know if that was an answer.
I agree. I think it's absolutely entered cult status. It's kind of like midnight movie, like Rocky and Rocky Horror, and not Rocky Balboa.
Also could have used some lasers.
Right up there in midnight movie madness with First Blood and Ghostbusters.
But Rocky Horror and The Room, and Xanadu. I could
like,
see.
I can see people going to see it. I feel like when this opened, people saw Gene Kelly's name, and I feel like a lot of an older generation went to see a musical with Gene Kelly.
Yes, I think that lent an expectation that they were not
and then
ready
they
for.
see this sort of new type of movie musical that I don't think people were used to.
And Grease was, 2 years before this, I want to say?
That was the one other thing I was going to look up if this was before or after Grease.
I think this was right before Grease, and this was meant that Grease was right before this. And this was meant to be her like launch into solo art.
Yeah, Grease was 78.
Okay.
So I think it's not a good movie. Yeah. It deserves the nomination. I do want to see Don't Stop the Music.
Can't Stop the Music.
Can't Stop the Music.
Yeah.
Don't you dare stop the fucking music.
Don't you ever.
Please.
Ever
Whatever
stop.
you do.
Under no circumstances
are
are
you
you to stop the music.
But like, does it deserve what I've been to parties where they've been like, "Oh, you've never seen Xanadu? Don't watch Xanadu. It's fucking garbage."
Yeah, I would not go so far as garbage.
I wouldn't say garbage.
I would not say garbage. It's absolute bonkers and a train wreck and weird and goofy, but it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's unabashedly laser-filled fun.
So when I look at my movie app at the end of after finishing a movie and I rate it out of 5, the way I've done it for the last year is, did I have fun? If the answer is yes, it's above a 3.
Okay.
It's not if I had a lot of fun, it's a 4. If it's art, it's a 5. This is not a 5.
No, absolutely not.
But it was like a 3.7, which they don't have that. So I gave it a 4. I rounded up.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that.
Wonderful. Well, I know you're all dying to know how we're going to fix this.
We have so much more to cover before we get to that, though.
That is correct.
But all of that's going to have to come in part 2.
You betcha. Caleb, would you like to promote your wares?
Oh, yeah. So if so far you've liked what you've heard or want to come to the bathhouse with me, you can check out my podcast, Making a Martini, available on all streaming platforms where I talk about different topics across the board. We've talked about sex. We've talked about Grease 2. Voting. I've talked about porn with some actual porn stars.
Hell yeah. That was a good episode.
They're coming back. We're doing a fetish episode for National Fetish Day.
Fun as hell.
All
right.
Yeah, of course you can. But yeah, I get drunk and vent.
Nice. It's a solid podcast.
It's a good time.
Oh,
absolutely highly recommended.
Yeah, I think I'm at Making Martini everywhere that you could find me on social media too. So
except Twitter, you are Martini Making.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I didn't realize it for like until season 2. I was like, oh shit. Oh god.
So speaking of social media, if you want to find us, you can find us on Twitter at DeRazzledPod, on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram at DeRazzled_podcast, and on TikTok at Dullboy_Jack. If you have suggestions for what you'd like to see us cover or for merch you'd like to see us make, you can email us at DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com. For that merch, you can go to our Redbubble store at DeRazzled Merch. There's 3 designs up currently. Jack's working on some more, which should be a lot of fun. And of course, tell all your friends about the show. Spread the word. Get us in the ears of more people. Please rate and review the show wherever you possibly can to help people find us easier. And I think that about covers that.
You betcha. But hey, join us next week, where we'll be sure to
go to the bathhouse.
Yep. See you next week.